This has been the most requested video on my channel, at least in recent history. Hey everyone, Derpy here, and welcome back to another Battle Pirates video. Now before anyone freaks out, I'm not sharing any Alliance secrets or secret builds. I hope that you don't copy this layout because there are a few things that are a little bit wrong with it. I will talk about those. I hope that you take the general things you can learn from here and apply them to your base layout. For that reason, I won't be showing everything in detail, such as my turret builds or fleet builds, although I have shown my turret builds in an earlier video, but whatever. I hope that you can take some general concepts away from here and use it to make your base stronger. I don't necessarily want to see copycat bases out there, although I can't stop anyone from doing that, and I am doing pretty well in medals. I am in the top 100 on the global medal leaderboards, if you're a person who cares about that sort of thing. And while I do know what I'm talking about, I definitely can still learn from people, and I will make mistakes, and I'm sure this base is beatable. In fact, this exact design has gotten beaten before by a mixed fleet, so it is very difficult to stop current offensive fleets, and this base won't stop everything, but hopefully we'll be able to teach you something. I'm going to talk about first my island, second my guard fleet and portal setup, and third the other random buildings I have around the outside. And then lastly, I'll finish with the base weaknesses. Make sure you stay for that thing so you know what to avoid when you are designing your own base. First of all, the base island and the turrets around here. I have, in terms of my main damage dealing turrets, I have 5 different decimators here, the max you can have, and then 5 mongoose as well as 2 farsight. The 5 decimators are all pointing towards the inside of the channel here, and they're designed so that when an enemy comes in, they get hit by these things if they do blitz in. And warhounds and trenchers will be the thing that blitz in here. And the Gorgons here are supposed to work with that and stop things in this range so the enemy can't hit those. They also do complement the minimum range of the mongoose and the farsight pretty well here. There are very few spots in my base that are actually a dead spot. Closest thing might be in the islands right here, and if I did move this mountain at this point right here, then it would be a complete dead spot. You could park 4 or 5 hellstorms right here and they could kill my entire island. I did have that mistake, and I learned from that one. And these mountains, by the way, while we're on it, are here to stop an enemy from just shooting those portals as they move through on the outside here. Back to these turrets. Now, I set the 5 decimators are all short range pointing inside. The other 7 heavy turrets are heavy ones that are shooting on the outside that are covering the channel. The main purpose of the mongoose is to attempt to damage hellswarms because these things do a pretty massive amount of damage, but they are really slow, meaning when they're charging in here, they're getting pelted by mongoose the entire time. Now, they'll charge in here and eventually hit my high guard warden, which I will talk about, and they can move through my channel. And I also have 1 portal moved out front of everything else. You do have to kill this first one, hopefully before you can kill the outpost, and definitely before you can kill this other random warehouse. I have it moved off out in the corner here, just so hellstorms have to get a little bit closer, or bring a basilisk to snipe it out from the outside, so that hopefully you can't just kill everything on my island and ring me and have the battle be over. You have to charge in towards the decimators a little bit closer. So that's what that random warehouse is for. Now, talking about the fleet and the portals, you'll notice that I do have the high guard warden out front here. It's really important that I have it out front instead of back where one of these decimators is or behind these islands as an anti-ship or something. This is a mandatory stun warden. It has the EMP tac mod where people will get stunned when they charge in. This means that a ship charging in, I'll just use, say, a heavy Drax scatter right here, but you'll be charging in, you'll be killing all the random things on the outside, and you'll get to this point right about here, where you're in range of the high guard warden and you start shooting at it. At this point, there'll be nothing else that you can possibly shoot at. If I did have a warehouse moved out over here or over here, you could potentially target off of that and avoid shooting at my high guard warden. Because once you shoot at this, I want you to get stunned for whatever time you are stunned, 12 seconds, and then you have to apply the stun resist to this thing. So it's only a second or 2, but it definitely does add up. And this means my mongoose have a chance on a stop chip to do pretty massive damage, as well as just slow you down a little bit further. By the point you charge in here, the high guard warden will likely be dead, as well as the first gate here. Really good builds can 1 or 2 shot gates in most cases. At this point, you have to decide between either stopping on the outside, which you'll probably not want to do because you'll get hit by all the mongoose, or charge in through my base. To do that, you have to get through the Gorgons here, and really the only reason why I have them in here, at least the main reason, is to apply the Gorgon's Gaze effect, which stops enemies in their tracks if the Gorgon is still alive. At this point, they will have to shoot through every Gorgon one by one, as well as the 2 gates and get into my base. Hopefully, at that point, my decimators have been doing enough damage that they are dead. That's the idea behind these things. Everything's trying to slow down and stop the enemy while they are in range of my heavy turrets. Now, let's talk about some of these support buildings I have around here. The first one is my glacial turret that's just there to hopefully put out an ice field and slow people down. Other turrets that could work in my base I don't have are some cryo turrets. Same thing with the harpoon, it just applies a minus 30% slow effect for 5 seconds, which will be reduced by stun and slow resistance. That's just there to, again, hopefully slow some people down, as well as provide some remote targeting range for my Gorgons. I have a few on the outside as well here. Then I do have a few of these Drac Scatter 2s at the front. These can just barely do damage. I'm hopefully trying to do a little bit of damage to some people that come in on the outside. If we do ever get other support turrets, I could change it to those. I could also change these to cryo turrets to do more slow effects, but I'm going to keep them how they are because I don't really think it matters too much. Then I do also have just the other random bombards on my gates, just to try and shoot down a few mortars from, say, a basilisk that could prep me. Because now let's talk about the weaknesses of my base. The first one here is with a basilisk, and I'm going to set one of my Gorgons to have a patrol range of 195, which is just about the range of a basilisk. You'll notice if I take it to this point right here, it can snipe out the bottom few turrets here and can kill this whole line if you move it around enough. Now, this is definitely a weakness, but it's a trade-off I do have to make. I do also have the back island here. If you beat your ship a little bit, could just barely reach. I did have someone do this, so I know it's possible. Could reach these last 2 turrets here, but not the outpost. So these 2 turrets could get killed, and the outpost could get splashed a little bit with a basilisk. I do also have from this top, you could probably, if you glitch your ship and move it close enough on the island, you could probably kill this first portal, maybe even just only the first portal, should be able to die with a basilisk. And definitely this random building on the outside here could die. Now that's just a sacrifice I had to be willing to make, because if I wanted to fix that, I'd have to have another square of land the entire way around my base. Each one would take 2 land tiles to buff out. I simply can't afford more land from the front. Because if I took away the land tiles it took from the front here, people would have a much faster time getting into my base, and I just can't manage to do that. So I am still sniperable to basilisks, and that is a big worry that I do have with people just copying this thing. You won't understand and you'll get upset. So don't just copy them. Now, 5 Hellswarms are also really difficult to stop, and because they are pretty tanky, especially if you drive them in a train, all spaced out just a little bit so the mongoose don't do a ton of splash damage. The different things to have up front here are just some random EMP buildings which should stun enemies, as well as the attack mods I do have on all of these are just cryo triggers on these ones, and then EMP blast and the RB1 reload buffer, just to hopefully slow ships down a little bit, decrease their reload a little bit. I'm all trying to do small things that add up. But if you take away this video from anything, it's try and put decimators and mongoose on your island and buff them with anything that increases projectile speed and damage. And then the ships, Gorgons, are really strong right now. I did at one point go for some gatekeepers, but I found that they were ineffective. They took too long to surface, dealt very little damage, and their heal ability doesn't work very well, considering people can 1 or 2 shot portals. And then the mandatory stun ship right here, that's the biggest mistake I see players making in bases. They have other random warehouses close to their ships, or even a whole other portal in range here, so it wouldn't be a mandatory ship and you wouldn't get the stun out of it. Now, if you want to see my base in action, I will hopefully be making a few more videos. I hope this video helped. If it did, leave a like. If you have questions on my base, things you want answered, please go ahead and leave that in the comments below. I want to do my best to help you out here. And again, don't anybody get mad at me. I'm not sharing too much of what players don't already know. I'm not sharing any alliance secrets. And, I'm just trying to help you out here. Let me know if this video was helpful. And as always, this is Derpy, signing out, helping you be a better pirate.